No matter where you look, Luigi is there. Whether it's Thug Finals or the Genesis main stage or Thug Finals again, Zain is a trash-ass bitch and Rapmonster is absolutely whooping his ass.
Thanks for the free warm-up, you fucking trash-ass bitch.
But more importantly, and way more unfortunately, he also whooped my ass. Twice. And I am not having it. If I may be vulnerable, I've never really understood Luigi as a character, and he's always kind of just given me a lot of trouble. But that ends now. You know the famous saying, if you can't beat them, join them? Well, I'm joining them. I am setting out to get top 50 with Luigi, a character that I never play, so that I can finally figure out what the actual f this character even does. Let's go, mother. I went right onto ranked with no studying, no warm-up, and no knowledge of how this character operates other than the fact that his moves send in weird directions and you can move fast. And I was moving fast. Having fast and tricky movement was the thing that maybe stuck out the most as being a little bit easier than I would have expected. Same with certain combo stuff, it just worked a lot more intuitively than I would have thought going into this. Specifically, the chain grab on Space Animal. Luigi's chain grab is weird because at the higher percents he has to wave dash to cover the DI behind, but it's actually a lot more lenient than I would have thought it would be just by watching it. That said, there was no way in hell that I was hitting the Rapmonster up B out of it.
What?
I have no idea how lenient that is, but surely it's not lenient enough for these hands to figure out. I also feel like I ought to give a disclaimer that I'm of course coming at this from the perspective of a guy who already plays the game at a top level and has a deep understanding of how combo mechanics work and movement mechanics work. So when I say that it's a lot easier than expected, what I really mean is that my experience playing Fox at the top level translates to playing Luigi at whatever level I am playing him at a lot easier than I would have expected.
Are you f***ing kidding me? That doesn't happen to Rapmonster.
Now, onto the things that were extremely difficult for me. Mashing. I am officially a mashless Luigi. I can get the tiniest, teensiest bit of height off of my down B, but it's practically useless and honestly just quite pathetic to watch. No! Yes! Thank you. I also found that the characters with a lot of range were just so hard to deal with. It's funny because I feel like traditionally you'd think that a character like Sheik is the hardest matchup for most mid-tiers, but I didn't find Sheik to be all that bad. In my experience, the hardest were the characters with a lot of range, like Falco and Marth. Because Luigi's so floaty, they have such an easy time keeping him in the air once he's in the air. And also because he slides so far when you hit him, it doesn't feel like he can really do that much about their aerials because they outrange him so much. And if you do manage to get close, if they just happen to hit you, then you slide super far away and you're just back at square one. I also didn't find Captain Falcon as hard as I would have thought. Of course, the story right now is because Rapmonster's been struggling with Captain Falcons. That matchup is super bad. And I think it is. I think it most likely is, in my experience, does not really portray the matchup. And to be fair, I am not trying to beat the likes of Wizrobe and Salt and None. But I felt like I was able to deal with him decently well. It worked super well, just playing far outside of his range and specifically using up smash if I think he's going to try to come in with an aerial because it's disjointed. And also, Luigi's head is invincible during it. I actually had a really good set with Bab, a sick Grandmaster Falcon player near the end of my day, and it was extremely close all things considered with everything I've heard about the matchup. Fuck. My mantra for melee characters is that if a character moves fast and has a decent enough combo game, then I wholeheartedly believe that character is a pretty good character. And Luigi fits that mold pretty spot on, honestly. Especially against the fast faller characters that are more comboable, like Captain Falcon and Fox and Falco. And that's not to say that Luigi wins those matchups. I literally just said how Falco was giving me a lot of trouble, but I do think he can make a lot of things happen in them. My first day went well. And I ended it with a record of 11 wins and 3 losses, which places me at Platinum 2. I was super happy with that, and I was just excited to wake up the next day and start again. I was having a lot of fun with Luigi. On the second day of Luigi Miss, I learned the most crucial tech skill of all, the neutral air platform cancel. And for those who don't understand the words that I just uttered, that's where I fall through a platform and put out a neutral air, but still manage to land on the platform anyway. It's actually not the most important piece of tech skill. You know, I still can't mash for shit. I can't fucking do it. But hey, at least I can hit some cooler combos now. So it felt like the most important thing to practice, at least for fun's sake. My Luigi was moving a lot quicker and a lot more sleek after a night's rest, and it was starting to become pretty apparent that this character actually is a decent fit for me in quite a lot of ways. Of course, there's the fast movement and potential for weird combos that I've already went on about, but also his tech chases can be truly insane, and that's something that my Fox always gets a lot of credit for. You can cover a lot with Luigi's Wave Dash, and then especially on platforms as well, you can get a lot of super early kills by reaction tech chasing with his up B. He actually very oddly fits my playstyle very well. And at this point, my Luigi was starting to get popular. In the Melee community, people have a tendency to give their secondary characters a name, and I typically refrain, but my chat took it upon themselves to come up with an iconic name for my Luigi. Rapmonster. Of course, needless to say, I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought it was inappropriate. So they did a bit more cooking and they decided on Curtis Canada, a play on Eddie Mexico, the legendary Luigi player. I think it's definitely a name. One thing that's super weird to get used to when it comes to playing Luigi is the fact that I can't hit shields all willy-nilly, both because I don't have a shine to protect myself when I land, and also because Luigi's fall speed is so slow that people have enough time just to aerial out of shield before I even hit the ground. I get hit in this spot a lot, and I know that it's one of, if not the most classic weakness that Luigi has, but holy shit, is it ever annoying to get hit in this spot so much over and over again, and just, you know, I have to fight the urge not to hit people, especially when they shield, but that's all I want to do. I just want to swing at people, so it's so frustrating. Peach is a character that I used to famously struggle against as Fox, but eventually I figured it out. But man, as Luigi, I absolutely hate Peach. The games take so long because they always run to the other side of the stage to pull turnips, and I can't combo her that hard, and she can crouch cancel so many of my moves, and her Nair out of shield is so good at doing exactly what I was just complaining about. And that's not even to mention the fact that they can just get good RNG on their turnip pulls and pull stitch faces. What the fuck? And half the time, I don't even get good Mitz fires to counteract that. Though, I guess I did say half the time.
Yeah, I just had a feeling, man.
I have no idea how you're supposed to deal with Peach without crashing out. And the fact that Rapmonster can just casually beat Aura's Peach and Zain's Marth genuinely blows my fucking mind because those characters just seem so difficult to deal with. With that said, I did feel like I was slowly figuring out Falco a bit, and I actually had 2 close Game 3 sets with Ginger that I felt could have went either way. Kyle Crudo told me that the Game 1 of my first Ginger set, I was low-key like the Mewtwo King of Luigi because I was just decimating every stock off of every hit. So regardless of the fact that I lost, I was pretty content with that performance. I don't know what my record was on this day. I could count it, but genuinely it was a 4.5 hour day of just running ranked sets straight. And I don't want to keep the tally of that because it would take forever. All I do know is that I ended the day in Platinum 3, which means I didn't necessarily rise through the ranks drastically or anything, but it was apparent that I was making big strides in my gameplay. So I was still excited to wake up the next day and keep pushing on. Day 3 is where big things started to happen, baby. I started off with a close set against both J-Chew and Bobby Big Balls, where I lost Game 3 to both, but they are both Grandmaster players, so again, I was just narrowly losing to people that would give me huge points. It was about halfway through the set with Bobby that Fiction actually came into my chat and started to give me little tidbits of coaching advice, telling me that shield grabbing doesn't work and to try wave dash in, dash back grab to use Luigi's burst speed to my advantage in a more controlled way. He also reminded me of how good wave dash in jab and wave dash in up smash can be, so I started to use those more. I had another huge heartbreaker versus J-Chew, but the fact that I'm consistently going so close with these Grandmaster players means that with a couple changes, I can get some big wins under my belt and hopefully reach my goal of top 50. Other than the occasional Marth or Peach or Leggy stream sniping Ganondorf, I was winning most of my sets this day, minus the ones to the Grandmasters. But with the help of Fiction's advice, things started to shift later on in the day. I ran into Bones, the classic old school Falco main who also happens to be a Grandmaster player. Game 1 went horribly, honestly. It was by far the most that my Luigi's gotten fucked up in this challenge so far.
Okay.
He just knows the matchup super well and was doing a great job putting pressure on me and making it feel like I couldn't do anything. I almost got 4-stocked. Game 2, I slowed it down on my end and really used my movement in spots where I could to see if there was any way to maneuver around him and maybe trick him into bad situations. It was working a lot better and I didn't feel like I was getting pinned down as much and I was hitting like a truck comparatively. It was a complete opposite game to Game 1 and I even hit this disgusting combo to end it. though I wish the misfire hit.
If he's side B'd, bro.
I just had to do the same thing game 3, and I would get my first Grandmaster win. Once again, I was hitting harder and moving deceptively and running away with the game, though he did start to make a huge comeback, and I'll just let you watch the end of this game.
Oh my fucking god.
Just massive. I kept the momentum after that, and I got my second Grandmaster win soon after on Boshi. And game 1, I hit a disgusting up B tech chase to clutch the game. I ended the 5-hour day in Diamond 3, which is a big jump from Platinum 3, which is where I ended the day before. And since I was finally closing out sets on Grandmaster players, I'm feeling hot. I feel like in just 3 days, my Luigi's already improved so drastically, and I was honestly shocked at how the little guy was doing. And I was having a lot of fun with it. I don't mean it lightly when I say I ended the grind each day going to bed, just truly looking forward to waking up and doing it again the next day. And after a huge day of huge wins, I felt that more than ever. Top 50 actually feels in reach somehow, and way sooner than I would have expected. Let's go, Curtis Canada. My 4th day was a 6.5 hour long marathon, and on this day, the Grandmaster players started to come out, but Curtis Canada came to play.
God. I know you like that one, everybody. Holy shit. Good.
Whatever. I was breaking ankles. I was breaking faces. I was rising the ranks. And I hit my fucking goal. Yahoo, bitch. Started to do that too. I started like dash dance a tiny bit.
Wave dashing's just so fun.